It's day 3 in the Cayman Islands, one of the world's best dive destinations. From sheer drop-offs to shallower dives, there's easily a different dive site for every day of the year.
This dive is going to be unlike any other one that we've done before. We're diving a shipwreck, but this is not just any shipwreck.
We'll be diving on a sunken Russian frigate outfitted for war, one of only a few sunken Soviet vessels in the Western Hemisphere.
What makes this shipwreck so different is it's only been on the ocean floor for about 20 years.
Kaz Bresington from Brac Scuba Shack will be our guide on this one-of-a-kind dive.
You'll see it very much still looks like a shipwreck, but it's split into 2 halves. Subsequent storms that have come through the Cayman Islands have pushed the bow onto its port side. The stern is still sitting upright in the sand.
The ship was originally part of the old Soviet fleet stationed in Cuba during the Cold War. When the Soviet Union dissolved, the Cayman Islands bought the abandoned ship from Cuba and deliberately sunk it off Cayman Brac to create an artificial reef.
This is an epic shipwreck.
Okay.
It's 330 feet long and really, really impressive. You're gonna love it.
We'll start our dive at the ship's bow, which sits about 85 feet below the surface.
I put my head in the water, and right in front of us, we have this enormous mass. That's the ship, and it's kind of intimidating.
With gun turrets fore and aft, at first the wreck feels almost ghostly. And then we see it's actually bursting with life.
This ship was sunk to create an artificial reef, and even though it's only been about 20 years, you can see that it's really become a home for so many different types of fish and marine life.
Like the Goliath Grouper, when this guy is full grown, he could be more than 800 pounds. These docile giants love hanging around artificial reefs like this one.
Out of nowhere, we spot a Hawksbill Sea Turtle. This guy is unbelievable. And right now, we are diving right up close and personal with this guy.
Over the centuries, sea turtles were hunted and sold for their meat until almost none were left. Today, sea turtles are a protected species and the hawksbill is still critically endangered. It's named for its narrow-pointed beak, which they use to extract and eat sea sponges and other sea creatures. It's thrilling to see one in the wild. Then we spot another hawksbill, and one more. Looks like this artificial reef is doing the trick.
I was expecting to be blown away by the structure of this ship, but I was not expecting the wildlife.
We're finally able to focus in on the wreck itself, and it's unbelievable. Most wrecks we've seen have deteriorated to the point where you can't make much of anything out.
But on this shipwreck, it's obvious. Everything is still so well intact. You can see the wheels, the different portholes. You can see the guns. Now, this was a Russian frigate, but it was armed and ready to go.
Our day of diving isn't over. This time, we're going inside.
The thing about swim-throughs is you need to be incredibly cautious because it's not exactly this clear path. There's a lot of different things hanging from the bottom and the ceiling, and you want to make sure that you don't get snagged on anything.
This is like a museum. It's so preserved, and you're able to look into these places where people worked, people lived. As we exit the swim-through, we are right in front of the guns on the stern of this ship. They are massive.
Our first swim through was relatively easy, and there was enough sunlight to guide us along. Our second swim through is a bit more intense.
We're following Kaz, and all of a sudden, she points down at this grate that's got a big hole in it.
All I'm thinking is, I'm not really sure about this. We have to go head first down into this grate. Peering down into the grate, I see just complete darkness. I'm following Kaz, keeping an eye on where she's going so I don't get lost in this ship.
I make my way down, and I'm surrounded by all these different instruments.
We're in the control room in one of the only Russian warships in the Western Hemisphere.
I can see all of the gauges, all the controls, and I can't help but think about the fact that at one point in time, this is where the captain of this ship stood, controlling this enormous 300-foot vessel across the seas. It's just an incredible feeling and experience all around.
As we continue further, there is so much to think about. We have to watch for hazards, check our gauges, and before long, it's time to go.
Kaz and Colton start to make their way out of the ship, and I follow along. It's time to start to head back to the boat.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel, there's a lot more to come.